you quit, Shirley.
Hello everyone, Chief Meteorologist Joel Fritsma here. We are breaking in right now with a severe thunderstorm warning on the west side of Lansing at the current time. We honestly did not expect this today. Again, we expected just some generic thunderstorms, but here we are with a severe thunderstorm warning again right over Grand Ledge right now. Go ahead and read these off, and then we'll get our camera set up here. But the National Weather Service in Grand Rapids has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for southwestern Ingham, South Central Clinton, and eastern Eaton County in South Central Michigan until 5:45 p.m. At 4:41, a severe thunderstorm was located near Grand Ledge, or 10 miles west of Lansing, moving southeast at 25 miles per hour. Hazards are 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-sized hail, and it is radar indicated. Locations impacted include Lansing, Charlotte, Mason, Eaton Rapids, Grand Ledge, Potterville, Edgemont Park, Aurelius, Onondaga, Brookfield, Diamonddale, Eden, Waverly, Wacusta, and Holt. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of the building. Make sure you are away from windows. Again, this is 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1-inch hail. Okay, we got Drew's cam in. I'm next.
What's up, everybody?
There we go. And I'll open the chat. Let us know you're watching from this afternoon here, late afternoon now. Orange box on your screen is that warning box. If you're not inside of that warning box right now, then obviously you're not in a severe thunderstorm warning. But this is kind of formed on its own outflow boundary and staying sustained. If we switch over to our correlation coefficient radar, you can kind of see right in the center of this right now. Could be some large hail falling. If we back it up a couple scans here, is the strongest rate kind of in the Grand Ledge area. I'm actually going to duo pane this just to kind of figure this out. Right exactly where this core would be. So right in there, just on the west side of Grand Ledge. We line up with our correlation coefficient radar. We're looking for things in correlation coefficient colors, I should say, that are orange, yellow, and green, and perhaps even some light blues in here. So you can see this entire complex on this western side of the storm is producing likely some hail, perhaps severe in size. And that core continues here in our latest scan directly over Mount Hope Highway here, just south of Grand Ledge, about 2 miles outside of town. And this is the only severe thunderstorm in the entire state right now. I believe we also have a special weather statement that just went up for Branch County as well. Drew, are you seeing that right now?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me on mine? Just want to make sure you guys can hear me.
Yep, I see your bar coming across on my side here.
Yeah, there's a special weather statement down in southern Michigan. Believe that is for, if my memory is right here, it's up here, 40-mile-per-hour winds and pea-sized hail, and that would be for what county is that again? I want to make sure I get this right here. That would be for Branch County, southern Branch County. Pea-sized hail, 40-mile-per-hour winds, and that cell is on its way towards Indiana. So we're in a northwest flow pattern today. Storms are heading northwest to southeast, so not your typical storm motion, but similar to what we saw yesterday a little bit, where we had storms kind of coming from the north heading south. I believe, Joel, I have my here. Just a sec. I'm just about to have my screen share on here just shortly here, Joel.
Sounds good. No worries.
All right, should be good, I think.
There you go.
Sweet. All right, so we got one storm here. Once again, kind of has its little own outflow boundary here as well by Branch County, extreme southern Branch County. This is for pea-sized hail and 40-mile-per-hour winds. It's blasting southeast at a pretty rapid pace here. So this will be outside of our state here really quickly here. So that's some good news with that cell. However, the more bigger concern is with this cell up here by the Lansing area, just west of Lansing. Pretty, like Joel mentioned, a pretty decent sized hail core with this cell as it continues to move off to the southeast here towards Eaton Rapids. Portions of western Ingham County, as well as portions of eastern Eaton County, especially, I would say for sure, Eaton County. And you can really see that outflow boundary riding along with it really well here. We have the instability. We have lapse rates in place. With these cells here, they're continuing to blast to the southeast. We weren't really expecting this here today, but once again, as always, we're keeping an eye on radar and are ready, if anything does, kind of go off or go severe, summer storms can always throw a little surprise occasionally, and that's the case for today. So as always, we'll be ready for anything that goes severe, and here we are. Again, the severe thunderstorm warning is for quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. If we zoom in on here, look where this hail core is at. It's probably where those purples are at. Yeah, you can see it really well on correlation coefficient here, just south of the Grand Ledge. Just northeast of our north of Potterville. So that is blasting to the southeast here at a pretty decent clip here. If I actually clip this here, I want to zoom out a little bit more so you guys can get a bigger picture on where the cell's going. Moving at a pretty fast rate here. This is just in the past 20 or so minutes here. It's blasting to the southeast here. So it's moving at a pretty quick pace here. Once again, wind and damaging winds being the main threat. We're not really... The wind and damaging threat was already super low for today for severe weather, but the tornado threat is even lower. So right now, main focus is damaging winds and hail. If we pull up velocity here, you can see a little bit of a downburst going on here, I believe. Want to make sure. Yeah, downburst. Yep. A little bit of a downburst happening here with this cell. So that's right, once again, right where this main hail core is at. So this would be your main region of hail right here, and it's blasting to the southeast. I would say if you're in Eaton Rapids, and that is a terrible arrow, I'm sorry about that, guys. But if you're downstream, if you're in Eaton Rapids, eastern Eaton County, I would definitely be on the lookout for hail as well as wind. Well, I would definitely be on the lookout for hail here because we were definitely getting, I would say, severe hail. We're also keeping an eye behind the scenes here for power outages. Nothing as of now that I'm seeing too concerning. I want to pull up just another source here just to make sure I'm not missing anything here. Yeah, no power outages yet that are coming in. If there are, there might be one, but it's very isolated in nature. So nothing too widespread yet, thankfully. Once again, those are kind of the two main cells that we're keeping an eye on right now. We do have a few other scattered cells scattered across the region, but they really haven't taken advantage of the environment at place here. And the other cell down here by Branch County is almost outside of our state. So really, this is really the main storm that we're keeping an eye on here for eastern Eaton County and western Ingham County. For those that are wondering where the cell is eventually going to end up, I would say Jackson County, I would for sure be on the lookout for this here as it blasts to the southeast here at a pretty decent clip here. And maybe further downstream, depending on how the storm kind of plays out here. So, yeah.
We do have a live cam facing kind of in that northwestish direction. So the storm is going to be right on the right side of your screen there. You can see a nice downpour. In fact, there's a nice base directly over the trees there. In fact, it almost looks like there's a little bit of a shelf cloud forming. I don't know if you can see that, Drew, but it's right behind the pine trees on the far right side of the screen. It appears to be some sort of base kind of sticking out from the bottom of that storm. So likely some winds rushing down out and away from the thunderstorm itself. Again, this is live from the Charlotte Fire Department here on the west side of town, looking kind of off to the northwest. And since it has such a wide angle lens, you can also kind of see back off to the north a little bit there. That looks like a little bit of a boot shape. I'll kind of point it out here with my mouse. So there, it looks like there's a little bit of an edge right here on the side of the screen, and then it kind of points out down and out like this. So it looks like there's a little bit of a boot. That would be like a tiny little miniature shelf cloud going on right in there right now. We should be live on YouTube. I have a bunch of people commenting in here right now.
Yeah, we're live on YouTube.
Yeah, we're live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and X right now. Everything is working. And we are live right now for this severe thunderstorm warning currently in the Lansing area, just on the west side of Lansing, for portions of Eaton, Ingham County, and extreme southern Clinton County, although at this point the storm is outside of Clinton County and south of Grand Ledge now. The storm is moving kind of slow off to the southeast at about 25-ish miles per hour. So it'll take a while to get to the south side of the county, Eaton Rapids, down towards Onondaga, eventually, if the storm can stay together. But overall out there today, just typical garden variety thunderstorms with one or two maybe becoming severe, and we have seen this so far this afternoon.
Indeed.
And that base continues to impress there in the far right side of the screen. Right in there.
Yeah, I'll continue checking radar here. Joel, I don't know if I just pulled up a satellite here on my other laptop here. You can clearly see which cells are kind of just taking advantage of the environment. I don't know if you want to pull that up to show people at all, or
you're in the bottom corner. So
sweet. All right. So as Joel's doing that, we're going to continue focusing on the cell here. Right now, a few are in south of Grand Ledge here. Don't want to be in full screen mode, please. Or whatever. I would say if you're in Eaton Rapids for sure, I'd be on the lookout, especially Potterville. Potterville, you guys are getting hit right now with the cell here as it continues to move off to the southeast. It's racing to the southeast here. So definitely watch out for heavy rain, lightning as well. Frequent lightning is definitely possible with the cell, as well as, once again, quarter-size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. So newest scan does weaken the core just a bit. So hopefully that is something that we'll continue to see here as the storm kind of continues to move off to the southeast here. Once again, take the severe thunderstorm warning seriously. Head to an interior room. Get away from windows. Don't be outdoors when these storms are rolling by. And yeah.
Not really a whole lot else to talk about except this one storm.
No, it's just this one storm here. And this storm here is already halfway across Branch County down here. It's going to be hitting extreme northeastern Indiana here shortly. So even if this cell continues to strengthen, it's heading outside of our state. We do have a few more downpours, it looks like, in Hillsdale County here. But once again, these cells are they're racing off to the southeast. They're kind of running out of time, even if they do strengthen, and let's just say they would take advantage of the environment in hand, they're moving so fast that they might get outside of our state by the time they do that. So obviously the cell will be the main focus here. For our live stream, that's why we went live. The cell right here, just southwest of Lansing, is on a rough track here, blasting to the southeast here. If we put this on loop here, yeah, that was a rough idea. I'd say potentially Jackson. I'd be on the lookout for this cell here, maybe just west of Jackson. Boy. Yeah, Jackson County should be on the lookout eventually for the cell here, but past few scans have slightly weakened that core, so hopefully that continues here. But once again, take this storm seriously. Looking behind the scenes here at mesoanalysis here, definitely have a lot of instability. It's definitely a little bit more humid today than it was yesterday. Yesterday it was a lot more dry out. We had really high cloud bases. I haven't quite looked at the cloud bases today. I would assume they're still pretty high up. Yeah, they're definitely pretty high today. So I would say if we look at surface obs as well, I would say the tornado threat today, guys, is virtually zero. Very, very, very low today, just based on many factors today. But a little bit more humid today. But once again, main threat, as per the severe thunderstorm warning here, is for damaging winds and hail.
Those storm tops right now, by the way, are up at about 38,000 feet. So it's quite a beefy storm out there. Still looking in the bottom corner there. I switched you to full screen, Drew, and I put the camera on the bottom left. There's a very nice base, kind of miniature shelf also rolling in with this storm. And it continues to kind of feed off of that outflow boundary, which you can kind of see on Drew's radar. There's that tiny little blue line. I don't know if you want to circle it, Drew. It's that little tiny blue line that kind of extends up towards Ionia through Lake Odessa down into the storm. Again, that is like a little source of lift, and it keeps that storm kind of fueled and going. Tapping into the more unstable atmosphere that's also like little elevated up in the atmosphere out there. Again, 40,000 feet. That's going to tap into actually our most copious amounts of instability that is located up there, mainly in the freezing level and higher. So, yeah, beefy storm overall. And again, the storm is moving off to the southeast at about 25-ish miles per hour. Trim on the warning now coming in, and this is going to be for the removal of Clinton County. Eaton and Ingham still in it. Grand Ledge no longer in it as well as Waverly. You guys, Grand Ledge, Waverly outside of the warning, as well as downtown Lansing at this point. But Potterville continues, Dimondale down towards the Eaton Rapids and Onondaga. You guys remain in that orange box you see on your screen.
Once again, we have a few other showers here in Berry County and western Eaton County, but once again, they're not really catching my eye. It looked like that cell in eastern Kent County did have maybe a little bit of core to it, but it's quickly weakening. It's now just really a rain shower at this point. So once again, really, this is really the only cell that we're kind of keeping an eye on. We'll take a quick peek again at this Branch County cell. The majority of it's already outside of our state, so yeah, basically outside of our state here. It's already leaving Kinderhook, if I said that right. And there's really, yeah, maybe Ray, but there's really no Michigan major communities that are kind of in the rut for the storm. I would be on the lookout still for occasional lightning. You could get lightning on the outer edge or on the back side of the storm, so I'd definitely stay indoors with this cell here as it continues to move off to the southeast. But besides that, that's really the main thing we're keeping an eye on. We have these two cells here in Hillsdale County. Right now, just look like moderate downpours at this rate, maybe an isolated rumble of thunder. Nothing really catching my eye here with that, though. So once again, we're mainly going to focus on this cell here. We're going to kind of be bouncing in between the Grand Rapids radar as well as the Detroit radar. It's more in the Grand Rapids area, so we'll be more focused on that radar here to get a better picture on what the storm is doing here. Yeah, it looks like now it's right on top of Potterville right now. Eaton Rapids is, I would say, the next major area of population that would be in line for this cell here. Thankfully, a little bit of a more weakening trend, but once again, it's definitely still a strong storm in my opinion. We also have a new cell developing here.
I was just about to point that out.
West of, what's that, Joel?
Just about to point that out, yep.
Yep, west of Calamo. I don't know if that did not sound right, Joel.
It's okay.
Whatever. We have this cell developing right here that's also blasting to the southeast here. We'll keep an eye on that as well. So
yeah. I wouldn't say blasting, Drew. It's going 25.
That's true. It looks quicker on my end for some reason. Maybe that's because of the scan that I have set up here.
It's all good. It's heading into Bellevue and Olivet if it maintains its strength. Which if you look in the bottom left corner of the stream here, you can see that cell actually forming on the left side of your screen as we speak, and also a couple other clouds forming along that boundary there. In fact, the boundary, I believe, is right in the center of the screen. It's the edge of the storm that runs from right side to center of the screen there. So again, it's just a source of lift. We're watching this lift kind of play out in real time, allowing for storms to kind of fire in the vicinity of that boundary. Drew, the comments are saying that you pronounced it right.
Let's go. We're slowly improving, guys. At least I am.
At one point, that storm that right when it went severe warned, when it was dropping out perhaps 1-inch hail near Grand Ledge, was up at about 42,000 feet. Again, it is starting to collapse down a little bit now. We still see cloud tops up here at around 37,000 feet behind the scenes. Obviously, I'm looking at it. But again, it is still heading off towards Eaton Rapids at 25 miles per hour. Eventually, it'll get there. Probably give it another 10 to 15 minutes. The heaviest of the wind, by the way, right now, Drew, if you want to check velocity, is directly over Potterville. So it could be a little gusty there right now. Winds likely 40 to 45, I'm seeing here in terms of our velocity scan. I'm looking at storm relative as well. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and change this because I know it's probably wrong. 331.
Yeah, velocity on my end is not near as good. Yeah, relative's a little bit better here.
Yeah, relative kind of shows you that, yeah, about 30 miles per hour, 30 to 35. So it looks like the winds are starting to die down on it now, but the hail going over to CC doesn't look like there's much there left anymore. It looks like it kind of collapsed most of its intensity out already. And in terms of just staying sustained, it is a positively buoyant updraft right now, so we could see this redevelop into more of a hail core soon. But as it stands right now, again, doesn't look like there's much falling in the Potterville area. Just keep in mind it could be a little gusty, and you still do want to be away from any exterior walls just in case a surprise comes out of nowhere. Which technically it's not out of nowhere because you're in a warning.
Yeah, I definitely could see updrafts still with a cell, especially with this cell here that me and Joel are kind of looking at here by Calamo right here. That's now heading southeast here. US scan really kind of exploded that cell here a little bit.
You can see exactly where our camera is on the radar as well. On the west side of Charlotte. Little red icon on the screen. Also, real quick, just wanted to shout out some members on our YouTube channel, A Miss, with 5 gifted memberships for our YouTube subscribers. Thank you very much, and also becoming a channel member. So appreciate you very much. Welcome to the team. There's a slight chance, I won't say a good chance, but there's a slight chance if that storm continues more south than southeast, Olivet will get missed by both of those storms. But right now it looks like that second cell is kind of forming a little bit further to the east and will likely clip portions of downtown there. Now Charlotte, for example, looks like it's going to be just skimming by. The bigger cell is going to be just skimming by, which makes sense given the orange box you see on your screen is that severe thunderstorm warning. Again, in effect until 5:45 p.m. here on this Thursday evening. 4th of July Eve. And looking at the clouds in the bottom left, it looks like our base slash miniature shelf is kind of dissipating a little bit. But that also is because it is moving off to the back side of the camera. So out of sight and view here on our Charlotte cam.
So again, looking behind the scenes here, not seeing any power just come in. Winds really aren't severe, in my opinion, anymore. Honestly, it stuck out more to me and Joel, especially the hail that was kind of ongoing as well. You had that spike with that core, which caused that warning, I think, or one reason why that warning was issued in the first place. So obviously the cell's on a slightly weakening trend. That doesn't mean it's not done. You know, as Joel was mentioning, we have new updrafts that are taking place off to the west and east. So that's going to be something that we'll obviously be on the lookout for here. But as always, we have you covered. Quick zoom out here, just take a peek.
Some more cells firing
Looks
down.
like we have another.
Yep, some more cells firing in Hillsdale, Lenawee County line there, as well as heading into Jackson. Again, I believe that's on a little bit of a miniature boundary in the area, on top of the one that's obviously, you know, coming out from that storm that is currently severe warned.
Switch to. Wonder if the airport is it too far away from the airport radar, or is it? Yeah, I'll give it a try. Yeah, it's low. Barely in range. We'll go back to the Detroit radar here. We'll obviously keep an eye on the cell here as it moves off to the southeast here and the portions of Lenawee County here. Right now, once again, still I would say very heavy rainfall present. Definitely some lightning. Maybe developing a core here. If we could switch to differential reflectivity here. You can definitely see a very healthy updraft, as well as this one up here, just west of Napoleon here. So we may have to keep an eye on these two cells here as well in the foreseeable future. Once again, this cell in Branch County with a special weather statement is basically outside of our state, so the threat for that cell is basically gone. That will not hit any other portion of our state. Right now, we're mainly focusing on storms really just south of Interstate 96 right now. Not seeing anything else that's catching our eye anywhere else north, or I would say north of Interstate 96 or west of US 131 at this time. Once again, if you guys have any reports of most likely hail, because I wouldn't be shocked if we had hail, if not severe hail, falling just around the Eagle area or just south of the Eagle, feel free to send that to our Michigan Weather Report page. When sending those reports in, try to put as much detail as you can when it comes to hail reports. Try to have some coins, have approximate sizes when you're taking pictures of hail. If you take a picture of hail, if you take a picture of it, if it's super far away from your face or really close to your face, that's going to make the hail look bigger or smaller than what it actually is. So try to get some coins, get like pennies or quarters or nickels, or get be a little creative with that, or perhaps, bigger. This was warned for quarter size hail, so I wouldn't be shocked if maybe worst case scenario there would be a few hailstones that'd be slightly bigger, but I wouldn't anticipate anything too crazy in terms of that. So I would say, grab a bunch of coins. That's your best way to measure for a lot of these storms for today, and give a time and location as well.
Given that the storm on radar, if you loop it there, you can see the storm that is riding down the Eaton County county line there, heading south towards the extreme northwest corner of Jackson County. It is going more south now because the boundary is pulling it further back off to the west. So what we could see is these two storms collide, and then again that will produce more lift in the atmosphere. There'll be more lift out there when these two storms collide, and that could, I won't say the word Fujiwara into itself because it's not spinning into itself, but it'll become one big robust updraft, and that will turn into one big storm. We'll see if anything severe comes of it when these two storms collide, but as it stands right now, it does look like these two storms, the one that's popping up and the one that is currently severe thunderstorm warned, do appear to collide here in maybe the next 30 to 45 minutes.
Once again, I know for certain parts of the state, not for everyone, but I know for me here in West Michigan, it's definitely a hot one. It's a little bit more humid than yesterday. I was mowing the lawn earlier today, and I definitely noticed the heat. So our humidity will kind of slowly start to kind of build back into our region here as we get more into the July 4th weekend. So that's just another thing that wanted to give a heads up on as well. The heat is also kind of having like a mini comeback this weekend. Won't be near as long, but they'll still be hot and humid regardless. So full of velocity here. See, actually, I'm gonna pull up differential reflectivity here and see the updrafts on these storms here. Once again, still pretty healthy, especially with both of these cells here as they continue to move to the southeast here. Wouldn't be shocked, depending on how the storm plays out, if there be a special weather statement eventually that could be issued with this cell here. But once again, time will tell as it continues to move off to the southeast. And as Joel mentioned, as this storm moves to the south here, be the rough kind of... Boy, my arrows are bad. Okay. It's hard to draw on a laptop sometimes.
Get yourself a mouse.
I do, but it's a small and not great mouse.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah. It'd be really bad if I had to use like a keyboard, or not keyboard, but like touchscreen. Imagine that. Just, oh, that'd be bad.
That storm that is now across Branch County into Steuben County, Indiana, has now gotten a statement for Steuben and Williams County in the Metz, Hamilton, and Edon area, right on the border of Indiana and Ohio right now. So right as it crossed over the border, it continues a special weather statement down there. So if you know anyone traveling along the I-80-90 corridor, the toll road, well, that storm is impacting that area down there right now. Not severe thunderstorm warned, but still making an impact for those motorists on the interstate, especially as we head into the holiday weekend. Real quick, since we are heading into the holiday weekend, a quick plug here real quick is we do have a group chat called Michigan Traffic and Accidents Reports on Facebook. You can go ahead and utilize that for any of your traveling plans this weekend. Feel free to ask for travel advice for avoiding traffic jams, you name it. Also give some helpful tips for areas that you might know that are backed up due to construction or other inconveniences, such as just normal traffic in general. So feel free to check that out. Again, Michigan Traffic and Accidents Reports on Facebook is the group. For those keeping track at home, we do have 3 separate groups that we keep track of on Facebook. Obviously, you have the traffic one. You also have Michigan Weather Reports, which is for our damage and stuff. So if you have hail damage out there, just hailstones in general, feel free to send those into that group. If you just have some cool clouds you want to send in, there's some fair weather stuff, feel free to send that into Michigan Storm Community. So all 3 of those groups are ran by us for you guys to use for the designated topics.
Yeah, for those that are wondering, our Michigan Traffic and Reports comes in handy, obviously, during the July 4th weekend. I would imagine it'd be really busy, just one, because it's going to be hot. A lot of people are going to want to go to a lake, whether it's, the big lake, Lake Michigan, Lake Huron, or an inland lake. It's going to be on a weekend, too. That adds, I think, more to it as well, and it's going to be hot. So definitely going to be probably a really busy weekend, if I had to guess. And it also will probably come in handy more, too, once we get more closer to the winter season. Obviously, we are in peak summer. But once we get closer to that winter season, that becomes really helpful when it comes to reporting accidents as well, with snow-related stuff as well. And then obviously, as Joel was mentioning too, with our Michigan Weather Report page, that's for like tree damage, with wind-related damage, tornadic damage, as well as hail damage, flash flooding, stuff like that. And the Michigan Storm Community, it's more kind of like think it in a way as beautiful storm structure page in a way. Yesterday I had some really cool lightning and a shelf cloud. I shared a image on that community page, cloud pictures, lightning pictures, stuff like that. Like, we obviously have a lot of weather enthusiasts here. I always love to see that stuff, but that is the main group page for that. So
This is just tuning in. This is the only severe thunderstorm warning in the state right now. So only parts of 2 counties out of the 83 are in a warning. This warning is set to expire at 5:45 as it continues off to the south-southeast, about 25 miles per hour, heading into Eaton Rapids as we speak. 1-inch hail, 6-mile-per-hour winds are possible, though at the current time it does not appear that these winds or hail are really happening. Still, don't let your guard down. Definitely want to be taking shelter inside until the storm does pass. Frequent cloud ground lightning is ongoing out there today. Very loud storms from the reports we've heard so far this afternoon. And that is due to a lot of the instability out there. Again, temperatures in the mid-80s today, and that temperature gradient from the surface into the upper levels of the atmosphere is very great. So what we call the lapse rate are fairly great out there. And that's also why we are seeing some of those that hail threat with this storm, is because it's quickly cooling off the higher you get in the atmosphere.
yeah, if I'd be living in Eaton Rapids right now, you're getting hit by this storm now. Definitely some really heavy rainfall, lightning as well, perhaps some small hail as well with this south here. But as Joel mentioned, these cells have slowly kind of been in a weakening trend here. So we'll see if that continues. Obviously, as Joel mentioned, these storms can still ramp up. So we'll keep an eye on things here as the afternoon goes on here. take a peek at the cell here in Lenawee County here to the Detroit radar. Yeah. Still looks like just a heavy downpour right now. Nothing too concerning right now. Maybe perhaps a few rumbles of thunder with these cells here that are moving off to the southeast. Looks like this cell here just north or just by the Napoleon area has now since weakened here. It's a little bit stronger, but now it's collapsing. So newest scan does pick up on that core a bit here. Let's go to differential reflectivity here. See if there's new updrafts here. Oh yeah, sure enough. Once again, just lightning and heavy rain with these cells for now. We'll keep an eye on those cells.
Go ahead and take my radar back here, which at the moment is my camera from Charlotte. Nope, never mind. It is my radar. So, taking a big zoomed out picture here on radar. As Drew mentioned, a couple cells moving into Lenawee County, popping up and continuing to pop up across the western half of Lenawee County. Heading very close to Adrian right now. Also up that US 223 corridor, not even close. The US 223 corridor up towards Jackson. That is where those showers are popping up right now. That storm that was in Branch County is no longer a threat to Michigan. So good news there, Branch, you're in the clear. We did have a cell that was up here in Kent County. That is no longer the case. It has turned into a rain shower as it's moved into northeastern Barry. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for southeastern Eaton and southwestern Ingham County until 5:45. As you can see on radar, that orange box continues to be trimmed. The latest cities trimmed from the severe thunderstorm warning include Potterville and Charlotte. And technically Mason, because you guys were on the line. So it looks like just Eaton Rapids, Onondaga down here in southern Eaton and southern Ingham County are the only places in this warning at the current time. We'll likely see this warning expire or cancel early if it can move out of this orange box before 5:45. It also appears that our updraft over Olivet is starting to rain itself out already. Let's check on ZDR. The ZDR is neutrally buoyant, so that means the storm is just kind of hanging out and perhaps raining itself out very soon. But things can change on a dime when you have boundaries interacting out there. We'll continue to watch the cells as it slides ever so close to the main cell that is currently severe thunderstorm warned. The Charlotte cam has the boundary passing directly over it right now, and it is very, very dark. Not sure if you have that pulled up, Drew, and you can see that.
Yeah, I don't have access to it via my laptop here. Once again, not seeing any new power just coming in. Cell is not really strengthening. It's kind of just slowly on a dying pace here as it moves off to the southeast here. For portions of, once again, eastern Eaton County and extreme portions of western Ingham County as well. As it moves off to the southeast, eventually it will be more affecting Jackson County in the foreseeable future here. But yeah, that's otherwise that's it. They're really pretty quiet on radar. It's just this one main cell that really is kind of catching our eye right now. Obviously, if there's anything else that pops up, we'll let you guys know for sure. But once again, we guys have you covered from beginning to end.
Well, this storm continues into Eaton Rapids, which is about T-minus 30 seconds, if not already. We'll go ahead and table through our sponsors for this live stream. And I'll go ahead and loop it so you all can see what is happening out there. So sponsors for this live stream. Again, we can't do it without our sponsors. Starting with StormGuard, Roofing and Construction. Lifestyle Exteriors. Cats, Roofing and Siding. Pro Powder. Mike Hayes, Roofing and Siding. Also have McKay Tree Specialists, as well as Kuiper Tree Care, FBI Buildings, On Top Roofing. Also got Shield Public Adjusters and Schneider Commercial Building Solutions. Additionally, we have Top Gun Roofing and Exteriors, A-Class Construction and Restoration, Rainbow Restoration, our newest sponsor, Rapid Radios, and finally, Guardian Technologies, sponsor of all our Skynet cams out there, which you did see, courtesy of them. There's one of our Sky Cams currently live from the Charlotte. Appreciate Guardian and all of our sponsors here at Michigan Storm Chasers. Can't do it without them. Feel free to give them all of your love, unconditional support, and even business if you have anything in terms of like exterior work, restoration, also some surge adjustment, as well as commercial buildings. So a bunch of different options out there for advertisers, all trusted by us here and vetted by us on staff here at Michigan Storm Chasers. So appreciate them very much. And if you missed any other numbers, feel free to go and rewind the stream and check them out. If you would like to become a sponsor, feel free to email us, specifically Chandler. I don't know if Chandler's watching right now, but his email is chandler@michiganstormchasers.com. We'll go through the entire process with you. Feel free to send him an email. Take our radar back. Still watching these storms. The gap right now between these two storms is about 5 miles apart. So if you live here south of Charlotte, kind of off to the east of I-69, southeast of I-69, there's a couple hundred of you guys right now that are probably getting split by these storms. Probably looking at both sides of you saying, well, what the heck? I need some rain, but it's on both sides of me. So that's exactly what's happening right now. You have two storms that popped up and are going right around you. It happens on these sorts of days when you have these pulse thunderstorms forming on boundaries and maybe not so much boundaries. A bunch of randomness out there. So if you are in that lucky area, or maybe not so lucky area, congratulations. You're being split by two storms.
Looking through satellite here, we already can see it through radar, but you can see it even better through satellite, just how isolated these storms are. We're seeing some cumulus clouds to the northeast of Kent County or Grand Rapids, but once again, the main towering cumulus clouds are more focused in, once again, Ingham County as well as Eaton County. So, yeah. And once again, these storms are actually heading a little bit further away from the better wind shear as well, which would make me assume that these storms would probably weaken as they continue to move off to the southeast, which so far they're doing that. But like we said, we'll be on here when there's always a threat for severe weather.
The air quality alerts are not for wildfire smoke. For those who are in West Michigan, there's air quality alerts for the ozone out there on the Lake Michigan shorelines, as well as Kent County. So again, no wildfire smoke, but it is for poor air quality due to ozone. To answer your question.
And the special weather statement for Branch County here, I would imagine, would cancel here very shortly here, as the cell is virtually fully in Indiana. So again, we only have one severe thunderstorm warning in effect, with no other special weather statements at this time besides the one in Branch County right now. And that cell in Lenawee County looks a little bit more disorganized now. So really, it's just this cell here that made us go live in the first place here that we're kind of keeping an eye on.
Charlotte cam behind the scenes still shows the boundary and the clouds forming off of it. Nothing too funky, but it is worth mentioning that it is pretty dark. That's it. Appears we have Annie out there right now as well. Not sure if she's alive. Don't believe so. Don't believe anyone's out there right now, which makes sense. Again, this is kind of out of the blue today. Forecast that we released at noon called for thunderstorms across the area, primarily along and south of 96, which this was the case. But the atmosphere did not really favor all that greatly severe weather today, and lo and behold, Michigan likes to do its own thing. So here we are, tracking this severe thunderstorm as it tracks through southeastern Eden County right now. It looks like it's on its way out. Maybe perhaps some pea-sized hail still falling. Other than that, wind-wise, perhaps in the middle of the storm, winds up to about 30 miles per hour. But again, that's not even severe. That's half of the severe limits. So if anything, it's still warned for the hail factor. These storms are still possible throughout the evening, through about sunset. Watching these cells continue to kind of blossom up and blossom down. We have a cell now firing here just south of Belding in Smyrna. Heading over into the Ionia area. I can check on our Ionia cam, see how the updraft is looking on that. We do have a clear view of it. So that is it right there. Courtesy of the Old Stone Porch Barn Weddings venue over there in M66. Nice shot of the cell to the west. But once this severe thunderstorm warning does cancel, either it'll expire in 15 minutes. I don't believe it'll get extended into Jackson County, which is good. Continues to kind of stay together, but it doesn't look impressive all that much. Your buoyancy right now is fairly neutral instead of positive. And so that is a sign of a storm that is kind of on its way out, going through its life cycle right now. And once the storm does expire its warning, we will likely hop off for the evening until maybe another storm does go severe again. Fingers crossed it doesn't, but you never know here in the state of Michigan. Even on the most mundane days, we can still get severe thunderstorm warnings, as we're seeing right now here in Eaton and Ingham County. If you haven't already, feel free to hit that like button. If you're just tuning in. Chief Meteorologist Joel Fritsma here alongside Drew Brummel. It's currently 5:31 on 4th of July Eve. And we're tracking this one severe thunderstorm as it tracks through, like I said, Eaton County, Ingham County. And any likes and shares do help out the page and helps out your fellow Michiganders see this information just like you do every single day as long as you're following us. So if you haven't followed us yet and you're a Michigander, what are you waiting for? We do this all the time. Every single severe thunderstorm warning in the state and tornado warning. We'll be live for it no matter the time of the day. Now, if you want to put the blame on why the storm went warned, you can kind of tailor it back to both Ryan and I. We both were eating prior to this storm going severe warned. I was literally downstairs, and Ryan is away this weekend, so we were both eating, and then all of a sudden the statement pops up for 40-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail, which is below severe limits. And we're like, oh boy, here we go. We're both eating. And I finished my food, came upstairs, set up my software as quick as possible, and as soon as that happened, I went live for severe. So inside joke is, for those who are new here, anytime someone eats, something goes warned. It happens all the time during the summer. And it happened again tonight. Seems like all the storms lately have been doing that right after we eat. Drew, it's about that time of the night for you as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'd say the cell is more kind of gusting out more than anything. I feel like it's like a little bit more expanded in Ingham County here as it's getting really close to the northern fringes here of Jackson County here. Once again, the cell here that we were kind of keeping an eye out for that could potentially merge with it is now just a rain shower. So, um, as kind of we've been mentioning for the past, 10, 15 minutes, these cells have just kind of slowly been on the dying trend here. Um, I will say, I want to check here on the, looks like that Lenawee County cell has picked up a bit though. Just west of Adrian here. Right now, just a heavy downpour. I want to put this on loop here. Yeah, last two scans here really kind of amplify that core here. Let's check correlation coefficient here just to, from there, pull up differential reflectivity. Still have some updrafts here, so we'll see if this cell continues to manifest. But once again, it is running out of space here. It is almost in Ohio now. It is in central Lenawee County. We'll soon be in southern Lenawee County, and then we'll be outside of the state here. So these cells are moving to the southeast right now. We also have a light shower in Ionia Cam as well. Once again, that's not too concerning. Main storm is this cell here that still has a severe thunderstorm warning and is now very close to Jackson County.
And we do have the Ionic Cam live as that cell continues to kind of blossom up. Very pretty structure ongoing out there. Very poofy. Not much else to say about it, but it's a nice cumulonimbus cloud. And it'll continue to develop. The darker the cloud is, the more moisture content that's in it. Keep that in mind. It'll likely turn into quite the heavy downpour as the next hour passes.
We also have our chaser Annie out and about right now, keeping an eye on these storms here. Joel, I think she said she will be on here in just a few minutes here, just FYI.
Okay. It's kind of retrograding a little bit. The strongest updraft in that storm heading towards Adrian right now is on that northwest corner. Echo tops at this location about 38,500 feet up. Pretty tall. Correlation coefficient doesn't appear to have anything in terms of large hail falling yet. Taking a 3D slice behind the scenes, I'm not seeing anything concerning right now. So that's good for hail. Wind-wise, also not that bad. Maybe 30 miles per hour at most, which is borderline a strong storm. Again, anything 30 miles per hour to about 55 miles per hour is a strong storm. And anything 60, technically 58, but they round up to 60 miles per hour is a severe storm for winds. Hail, strong hail is obviously going to be any hail in general, so pea size up to penny size. And then 1 inch hail, which is quarter sized hail, and larger is severe hail. We do have Andy's cam live. Right underneath it right now. Was that lightning I just saw?
That's a good question. She in the Ingham County cell?
Yep. The one that's currently warned.
Yeah, even though if the cell's on a weakening trend, it definitely still has some lightning, so it definitely still carries that thunderstorm threat.
And the good news is that warning was just canceled.
So I believe we have no statements and no warnings as of 5:38 in Michigan. And Joel has the Ionia cam pulled up, directly facing that developing shower. Has a little some heavy rainfall with it right now, but nothing too concerning with that. Once again, the Ionia cam is the bottom left cam that Joel has up, and then our chaser Annie is in what used to be severe thunderstorm warned, is now just a strong thunderstorm, or just a thunderstorm technically, in southwest Ingham County. Looking at the behind the scenes here, the storm in Lenawee County. Once again, just another really heavy downpour going on. Not seeing anything too concerning that's sticking out at all. Right now, the heaviest rain in Lenawee County is just west of Adrian and northwest of Fairfield. That cell is currently in central Lenawee County, moving off to the southeast.
It does appear that it is now downbursting on the airport radar. So if you're in downtown Adrian, please be inside away from exterior walls, as this storm now appears to be gusting out a little bit. Downburst, as a reminder, is winds blowing out in all directions from a collapsing thunderstorm. So winds can come from the north, south, east, west, depends on what side of the storm you're on.
Julie says, I love his keyboard. It's so aggressive.
Thanks. Take a quick look at our camera here in Ionia. It is a very nice cloud. Just a nice cumulonimbus, kind of downbursting right now. You can see the rain core starting to pop out there, center left side of the screen. In fact, I'll circle it with my mouse. Right about there, just above these trees. See nice some rain popping down.
Those wondering right now, we just have really just three main storms, in my opinion, that just really have just heavy downpours, perhaps some gusty winds, especially the Lenawee County storm, and frequent lightning. And that would be the cell that's in central Lenawee County, the cell that is now in southern Ingham County, entering into northern Jackson County, and then the cell that is in central Ionia County that's directly west of our camp, which Joel has pulled up right now. Otherwise, majority of the state is just sunny with partly cloudy skies.
I do appreciate all the shelf cloud photos we're getting in now from the storm that was previously severe thunderstorm warned on our Facebook page. Facebook page is Michigan Storm Chasers. Feel free to hit the follow button there. We have about 437,000 of you guys, something like that, on our Facebook page. Feel free to join as well. And drop your shelf cloud photos in the comments, not on the stream, but in a separate post so that way we can see it. Thank you to some of you. I believe Haley, Shoemaker, there's a Penny in here, all with really good views on that shelf cloud as it rolled through the Eaton County area. We do have a new special weather statement popping on now. You just saw on the center of your screen. It's going to be for Lenawee County. I'm going to go ahead and take my radar back. That was the storm that we have been watching kind of fire up along that boundary. Statement is for this cell right here. Moving very close to Adrian, about to head into Ohio. Eventually going to be heading towards Metamora, Holland, and eventually Perrysburg, Ohio, if it can stay together. But the special weather statement is in effect issued by the National Weather Service Detroit for downtown Adrian. 40-mile-per-hour winds and pea-sized hail are possible, so it's not really close to severe limits at the current time. We'll keep an eye on it in the minutes to come. See if that storm actually does go warned, but at the current time, cloud tops are up at 36,000 feet. So about a medium range storm. Where you see these darker greens. Really has kind of stayed the same height over the last couple scans. And that storm over here, south of Eaton Rapids, over Onondaga, is up at about 39,000 feet. So still a pretty powerful storm. Just a nice downpour ongoing as it's rolling into Jackson within the next 10 to 20 minutes. So if you're in Jackson, the storm's still moving off to the southeast, about 25 miles per hour. So the heaviest of it will probably not be into downtown for probably another half hour, but the edge of it next probably 10 to 20 minutes if it can stay together.
Once again, we can see the downburst pretty well with the airport radar via Detroit. You can see it. I don't know if you can pull up my radar, Joel, but you can see it really well here. Latest scan here that we have an ongoing downburst right in the Adrian area. Once again, 40-mile-per-hour winds and pea-sized hail with a cell here as it continues to move off to the southeast here. If I put this on loop here, you can kind of see how it kind of transgresses here. Reds are winds heading away from the radar, greens heading towards. The radar is up here to the top right of my screen here. So the green is heading towards and then the red heading away. So for a downburst, we see that's what we're seeing right here. Winds heading away from the storm. Storm is kind of collapsing on itself and is causing those gusty winds and small hail to form right now. Or not form, but fall.
You can put me on the green screen. Take your... There we go. So I'll stand up, kind of point out what you were just saying here. You get to use the green screen for once to better show.
Let's do it.
So this is what it's all about. Green screen. Oh, it's foggy.
Is it not?
No, this is on my end.
Okay.
My cam's not adjusting right now. Give me 1 second. I just need some light. There we go. So here you go. Here's the statement right now for Adrian. This storm is rolling to the southeast, and right where you see here on radar, so this is our velocity radar, as Drew was mentioning. The radar site right now is kind of right where my head's at, up here just off to the northeast of Milan. So right now these winds are relative to that radar site off behind me. These greens are heading towards the radar site, so that's east side of the storm is, moving that way where the winds are heading, and the red is anything moving away. Sorry, pointing right there. Red's moving away from the storm. There we go. Green's moving towards the radar. Red's moving away from the radar. And again, that right where the meet in the center, usually that's what we say is rotation, but again, because they're heading in opposite directions, it's not rotation. And so that's exactly what's happening here. Right over downtown Adrian at the current time. 40 mile per hour winds, peace-high sail still in effect on that special weather statement. So keep that in mind. This is what we use all the time for our, obviously, rotation, but as well as downburst, which we're seeing today. We would, if it was rotation, we would need, I'm thinking about this correctly here, we would need greens on the south side of the storm and reds on the north side of the storm. But right now it's more east to west side, kind of heading in opposite directions here. So, sorry, I'm a little far from the mic when I'm explaining this. I don't have a mic with me. I kind of have to hold it, but hopefully you guys could kind of hear me. But yeah, that is your downburst.
There you go. Green screen Joel. Newest scan here. Lightly weakens that downburst. Still ongoing, so definitely some gusty winds, some small hail falling with this storm here by the Adrian area in central and now kind of more getting closer to southern portions of Lenawee County. So if you're on Road 52, right in Fairfield as well, I would be on the lookout here as well. Yeah, Fairfield, just south of Adrian. Adrian's probably still getting some gusty winds on the backside, but Fairfield as well. See here, Blissfield, and then, all right, Palmyra? No. That's not right, is it?
Palmyra?
I'm about to find out here shortly.
Talk about Palmyra?
Sure. Zooming out here. Looking back at that cell in northern Jackson County. Definitely say the right side here is kind of weakened here. Not looking at nearly as impressive as before. If we put this on loop here. Kind of see how there were some brighter reds. Now it's kind of more collapsing. Later rain now. Left side of the storm is still kind of holding its consistency, but nothing really too concerning that's popping up in terms of wind or hail. Another cell developing just southwest of Greenville. Again, just kind of heavy downpours with those cells, and nothing that's really sticking out to me. It's really just this one special weather statement that is in Lenawee County with the ongoing downburst that is now happening. And that is getting pretty close to exiting our state here shortly. So if I'd be in Fairfield or the Adrian area, I'd be indoors. Definitely some gusty winds with these cells. Wouldn't be shocked if a few branches, maybe a rotten tree or two could get pushed over with these gusty winds, but not severe winds, but still gusty winds nevertheless, and lightning and heavy rainfall with this storm cell. But otherwise, really over 3/4, I would say like 80% of the state, if that's a rough guess, is just experiencing sunny skies and partly cloudy skies.
Might be closer to 95, honestly.
95. All right.
Yeah. It's literally just 3 different thunderstorms in 3 different counties, so
Yeah.
more like 2. I wouldn't really. Ionia County and Montcalm County, extreme southwest Montcalm County, is more in the way of just strong showers at the current time. But again, we're watching them, see if they'll grow upscale. I also have 2 boundaries out there right now. You have one in Barry County and one in Eaton. Curious to see if you loop it, Drew, what direction those are heading.
I believe they're heading to the southwest. South. Yeah.
So they're
South.
not really. They're kind of paralleling each other. If we saw those 2 boundaries heading towards each other, then we would probably see some very, very intense upscale growth. But at the current time, that doesn't appear to be the case, which is good. Keep it that way.
And looking via satellite here behind the scenes, those 2 rain showers that are in the Ionia County region aren't really that mature. I'm not seeing anything too explosive as of now. Obviously, that can change. But once again, you get the highest storm out of them all is that cell in northern Jackson County. Obviously, that Lenawee County cell is also rapidly maturing as well as it moves to the southeast here. But west of US 131, there's hardly any clouds that are present, as well as probably north of US 10. There's hardly any clouds. There might be some upper level clouds, actually. I don't know if you're looking at satellite right now, Joel. Maybe that's, yeah, perhaps some upper level clouds, maybe some cirrus clouds up there as well. But besides that, just some patchy cumulus clouds, with a few of them a little bit more mature, especially south of Interstate 96 and east of, honestly, 69 at this point. Interstate 69. Still small downburst, still ongoing with that cell in Lenawee County.
Sorry, I just realized I was muted. New report.
Oh,
yeah. New report just came in from Eaton Rapids. 1 to 2 inch diameter tree branch down in downtown. As reported at, looks like 5:30, so about 25 minutes ago. Wind-wise, still gusting outward right now. That wall of wind is now past Adrian and heading kind of towards the Britain and Blissfield area. Still got a long ways to go, but it is gusting out that way. You can see here on radar where the greens are brighter and pulsing outward. Ignore the purple. That is what's called range folded. That's basically bad data. You're going to get a lot of that at the airport radar especially.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to watch, kind of how you saw that downburst kind of first start, and now it's just kind of spreading out in a kind of slow fashion.
And this is really the only cell that's worth monitoring at the current point. It looks like the storm in Jackson County has turned into pretty much just a downpour. See, I'm gonna check any of the weather cams behind the scenes. Pretty clear. Not a whole lot going on across the area. Ione cam doesn't show anything except for a tiny little cell. Dearborn, not really either. Sun's kind of shining right in the camera, so it's tough to tell.
Those that are kind of wondering about tomorrow for the 4th of July, we're expecting, once again, another hot day, slightly more humid day for more people as well. Not for the whole entire state. It'd be more for the southern portions of Michigan. That would be a little bit more on the more humid side. Perhaps, and I say this very lightly, an isolated shower, maybe thunderstorm, maybe in southeast Michigan. But once again, confidence is very low on kind of how, if there would be any storms that would develop. The better chance of storms will be off to our west in states like Minnesota and Wisconsin during the day on the 4th. There could be the slightest chance a few of those could reach Michigan. But by the time they do, basically it would be, make sure I get this right here. Basically, they'll be falling apart for the most part. So once again, we'll be monitoring things for tomorrow, but we're expecting a mostly dry and hot day tomorrow.
The thing about the winds that are gusting out right now, Drew, on a radar is that these winds are associated with that boundary, and so they're not really technically underneath the precipitation. It's just the wind itself out in front of it as it heads over towards Tecumseh and Blissfield. So very, very indicative of just some gusty winds. And on top of that, if that boundary continues to gust further away from that storm will continue to kind of fall out and decrease its strength, which we like to see.
Storm is also getting closer and closer to the state of Ohio as well. It moves off to the southeast.
It appears the current time, which is 6 o'clock, 6:01 now, in about 50 seconds. Appears that all storms are below severe limits, and I think, at least in my opinion, Drew, this storm does not appear like it's going to go warned for the state of Michigan. Storm is maintaining its updraft, however, the ingredients out there aren't really that indicative of anything other than that downburst, which is currently gusting out and further away from the storm at about 40 miles per hour. If they were going to warn it, it would have been already. Again, that downburst has already occurred, and it's continuing to slowly decrease as it runs over the rough terrain, runs through trees and stuff. That wind's just going to keep slowing down. So on radar, you have the left side is your base reflectivity. That's the intensity of the rain. The hotter the colors, the heavier the rain. Right side is your ZDR radar, differential reflectivity. To measure buoyancy in the atmosphere, storms that are positively buoyant are going to be also the hotter the color. So if they're not hot on the right side there, those storms are likely neutrally buoyant or on their way down and collapsing, which you can see. Most of the storms are fairly neutral at the current time, so not likely to be producing severe anytime soon.
For those that are Aurora enthusiasts, right now we're also monitoring behind the scenes some pretty good Aurora data for tonight. Obviously, Ryan is our more key Aurora expert, but I also chase some Aurora and Northern Lights. I'm also keeping an eye on for tonight potentially. We'll see. Obviously, Aurora forecasting is a lot more difficult than weather forecasting. Weather forecasting itself can get a little tricky at times. So we'll see what tonight brings. But currently, we have some decent data here in place for tonight. So we also have the majority of our state should be cloud free. So fingers crossed, guys, that we can for once get something with Northern Lights. But obviously, I believe Ryan will have more updates on alerts, I believe is the page that's called for our Northern Light cast if anything does happen tonight. So
also, real quick, wanted to throw this out there. Special weather statement has been issued for extreme northeastern Fulton County in Ohio, which is part of the IWX jurisdiction. Continuing 40-mile-per-hour winds and pea-sized hail. But it appears at the current time that these storms are going to stay sub-severe. I think we'll go ahead and take a break here, kind of hop off for a little bit, and if need be, go back live for another warned storm later this evening. That's fingers crossed that it doesn't. Again, today's forecast was isolated thunderstorms across the I-96 corridor and points south. That's really what we've had so far today. And we continue to hope that these storms do decide to fizzle out, although rain is welcome for portions of West Michigan right now. Gladly take it as conditions continue to stay abnormally dry this time of the year. And again, all of our rain forecast, drought forecast, you name it, all can be found on our Facebook page, Michigan Storm Chasers, with the blue verification mark next to it. Anything else to chime in with here, Drew, before I give the last spiel?
yeah, I mean, you basically covered it. We'll obviously be keeping an eye on radar here behind the scenes. If anything does happen to strengthen up again, we will be ready to go live if necessary. And yeah, once again, I know for sure myself and Ryan for sure are kind of keeping an eye on potential Northern Light chances. It'd be mainly, I think, in my opinion, if I had to give my opinion, would be more for the UP and northern lower Michigan. But if we get a substorm, then perhaps it could include the whole state. But once again, we need this data to kind of hold going into tonight. And we still have several hours of daylight. So time will tell, guys.
Absolutely. As we hop off here, we do want to do a quick shout out to our mods. Thank you for jumping off when you could tonight on this kind of impromptu severe weather coverage that we kind of saw come out of left field here in the state of Michigan, particularly in the Lansing area. So appreciate you, mods. Thank you, as always, for jumping in. And again, feel free to give them all your love here in chat. We'd rather have all your love given in chat than all of your hate, because they will put the band hammer down on you. They will not be afraid to do it. So keep that in mind. With that being said, feel free to follow us on all of our social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, X, Twitch. We're also on Blue Sky, Threads, and Instagram, as well as TikTok. That's 8 different platforms we're on. You can find us at any of those at the username MI Storm Chasers. We also have a merch store. Helicity.co is the link for that. You can find that online for any of your weather merch, Michigan Storm Chasers merch, and even if you guys have the app Radar Scope, you can find Radar Scope merch there as well. Helicity.co is partnered with Radar Scope. Other than that, I don't know if I'm missing anything. Oh, we are running a contest right now on our Instagram page. I did forget that. If you haven't followed us on Instagram, we did partner with Trico, which is a wiper blade company. Feel free to go check out the reel we posted, as well as them. We're partnered with them for a little bit of a contest. You can win a $50 gas card for Shell. You can win some Michigan Storm Chasers merch, and you can even win some of those silicone wiper blades. So check them out. Check out that reel on our Instagram page. Again, that username is MI Storm Chasers. That being said, we're hopping off. for now. We might be back later. We might not be. Otherwise, severe weather is possible and a marginal risk for the UP tomorrow night and on Saturday for your 4th of July weekend. Chief Meteorologist Joel Fritsma signing off alongside Drew Brummel. We'll catch you next time here, Michigan Storm Chasers, for another severe weather live stream or severe weather briefing. Take care, everyone, and have a great 4th of July.
See you guys.